Have you ever wondered which companies have the unfortunate honor of being the world's biggest polluters? In a society where protecting the environment is of utmost importance, there is a shadowy underbelly of businesses whose activities threaten the delicate balance of our planet. What happens when corporate power and environmental responsibility collide? Who pays the true cost of the pollution generated by these global giants? And most importantly, can we hold these companies responsible for their actions? Stay tuned, because today we're going to take a shocking journey into the world of environmental offenders as we expose the top 10 polluting companies in the world. Let's start by digging deep into some companies causing major carbon emissions. Number 10, Total Energies SE, 12.35 billion tons of CO2. Total Energies SE is a French corporation based in Courbevoie, France. The firm is an integrated oil and gas company, which means it's involved in a full oil supply chain, from extraction through sale to the customer at the pump. Total Energies SE released 14,958 metric tons of carbon dioxide over the course of 286 years, ending in 2018. Total Energies SE has about 16,000 petrol stations and 25,000 electric car charging stations. The company's vast oil reserves total 12,062 million barrels of oil equivalent as of December 2021. In addition, natural gas and liquefied natural gas are sold by them. Number 9, Kuwait Petroleum Corporation. Moving along, we have Kuwait Petroleum Corporation, a state-owned corporation in Kuwait in charge of hydrocarbon exploration, production, refining and transportation, with its headquarters in Shuaik Al Asima, Kuwait. Between 1751 and 2018, Kuwait Petroleum Corporation's carbon dioxide emissions total 14,218 metric tons. Their emissions have swept the planet like a relentless sandstorm, leaving a dark haze in the wake. Kuwait is one of the world's leading countries in terms of per capita electricity and water use and accounts for approximately 7% of global crude oil production. This usage places a significant strain on electricity and desalination facilities, contributes to pollution, and lowers oil and natural gas exports. Because of the use of fossil fuels to satisfy the demands of power generation and water supply, per capita energy consumption and carbon dioxide emissions have grown, with 8.9 tons per capita and 21.1 tons of CO2 per capita respectively. Demand for crude oil has recently shifted from Europe to Asia. There is also an increase in worldwide demand for refined products, including petrochemicals and natural gas, indicating that the company will not slow down. To fulfill this rising demand, Kuwait expects to invest 500 billion dirhams by 2040 to increase oil extraction and petrochemical developments. So, despite being one of the world's top offenders, Kuwait Petroleum appears to be doing not much to redeem itself. Number 8, ConocoPhillips. Well, ConocoPhillips takes satisfaction in the fact that it has reduced its emissions by about 7 million tons per year since 2009. Excellent news, right? Well, what's left is a pitiful 0.045% reduction in emissions when you compare this number to its overall emissions of 15.23 billion tons. Further emission reductions are also likely to be undone by new initiatives that are in the works. A few months ago, the corporation signed off on the Alaska Development Plan that will produce 586 million barrels of oil over a 30-year period. Unfortunately, scientists have said that this might have an impact on caribou and other local wildlife species. Number 7, Peabody Energy. Next, we have Peabody Energy, a coal mining and energy corporation based in St. Louis, Missouri. Did you know that Peabody Energy's environmental effect extends well beyond the burning glow of coal? Although the activities of Peabody Energy have been closely associated with the extraction and use of coal, a fossil fuel known for its contribution to greenhouse gas emissions and climate change, they left a carbon footprint as large as the landscapes it works in, with every ton of coal extracted from the soil. Peabody Energy operates in 25 countries and generates $7 billion in sales. In 2013, it delivered 252 million tons of coal, 185 million from the United States and 35 million from Australia. According to the Guardian newspapers, Peabody Energy was responsible for over 1% of all greenhouse emissions released by mankind since the Industrial Revolution. According to The Guardian, Peabody Energy has supported at least 24 organizations to resist climate change and environmental laws, with the ultimate goal of, you guessed it, money. Number 4, British Petroleum. When it comes to spills, BP sure knows how to make a splash. Many will be overshadowed by the Deepwater Horizon rig disaster in 2010, which spilled 206 million gallons of oil from BP's Macondo well into the Gulf of Mexico for 87 days. The leak killed 11 employees and killed millions of sea creatures, resulting in one of the biggest environmental disasters in US history. Because of the leak, 88,522 square miles of sea was restricted to fishing at its height. Many species are still suffering in the region a decade later. BP is a British corporation based in London, England, manufacturing, refining and transporting oil and natural gas. It's one of the world's largest corporations in terms of sales. In 2019, the business earned $164 billion in sales and $8.5 billion in net income, with typical oil industry margins due to high operating and production expenses. By the conclusion of the third quarter of 2022, 25 of the 920 hedge funds surveyed by Insider Monkey had invested in BP. Here's a fact. Arrow Street Capital, owned by Peter Rathjens, Bruce Clark and John Campbell, is the largest hedge fund stakeholder in BP with 27 million shares worth $772 million. Number 5. Royal Dutch Shell plc. Royal Dutch Shell, the world's most polluted company, or is it just shell-shocked? With its headquarters in London, the United Kingdom, Shell is a British corporation that was founded in 1907. The corporation is an integrated oil company since it extracts oil and then sells it at the pump. With more than 40,000 petrol outlets in its network, Shell is one of the biggest oil companies in the world. The company also runs refineries and has activities, among other places, in the Arctic, China, India, Ireland, Brunei and North America. But Shell has repeatedly let down environmentalists. The energy corporation spent over $22 million in 2015 on lobbying efforts opposing climate measures. Approximately 1.5 to 2 million tons of trash were also deposited by Shell into Busker Bay in Willemstad, which to this day is known as Asphalt Lake. In light of these violations, Shell has been aware of the damage that fossil fuels may have over 30 years. In an effort to make amends, Shell said in 2019 that it would invest $300 million over the next following 3 years in natural ecosystems. This good news, however, is rapidly overshadowed by Shell's yearly revenue of $24 billion, which is invested in fossil fuels. Is the 1.25% of profits going to the environment merely a handout to keep environmentalists quiet? Yeah, most likely. Number 4. Public joint stock company Gazprom. Now let's take a look at the public joint stock company Gazprom, the company that's so polluted it's gasping for air. Russian oil and gas business Gazprom is a public joint stock business with the Russian government as its largest stakeholder. The company, which has its headquarters in Moscow, also generates energy in addition to producing, transporting and selling oil and gas. The major assets in Gazprom are situated in Siberia, and it generates billions of cubic meters of gas every year. The company is also working on a number of pipeline projects to transport gas to countries like Turkey and Europe. Between 1751 and 2018, the company released 44,757 metric tons of carbon dioxide. Number 3. ExxonMobil Corporation. On number 3, we have the oil giant that's always on the go to the top of the pollution list. ExxonMobil Corporation is an American oil company with its headquarters in Irving, Texas. It was founded in 1870, making it one of the oldest of its kind. The company was producing oil from a massive 20,528 wells as of December 2021, and between 2017 and 2021, it invested $118 billion to increase its output. Exxon has clearly violated its own principles back in 2015 when research proved that the business had known about the causes and consequences of climate change since the 1970s. Over the last 30 years, Exxon had spent millions of dollars on climate denial think tanks and into public disinformation campaigns instead of taking action to protect the environment. Rajiv Jain's GQG Partners is the largest shareholder in ExxonMobil Corporation with 33 million shares worth $2.9 billion. Insider Monkey's third quarter survey of 920 hedge funds found that 75 of them had purchased ExxonMobil Corporation shares. Number 2. Chevron. Now, Chevron sounds like a corporation that cares about the environment, doesn't it? Unfortunately, nope. Every day, Chevron produces about 250,000 barrels of crude oil. Just 2 years ago, the firm was ordered to pay $9.5 billion to repair the social and environmental harm caused by Chevron's purposeful disposal of billions of gallons of toxic oil waste in the Amazonian provinces of Socombos and Orellana. As Chevron engages in the practice of flaring, a sight occurs in which clouds of black smoke spiral into the California skies, leaving a trail of adverse environmental consequences. The aftermath of one such industrial fire in 2012 was nothing short of alarming, with over 15,000 people in California seeking medical assistance for respiratory discomfort caused by the incident. Fact: Chevron was one of the oil companies targeted by the Union of Concerned Scientists in the United States in a campaign to stop funding climate disinformation. Number 1. Saudi Arabian Oil Company. The company topping the list is Saudi Arabian Oil Company, or Saudi Aramco, a Saudi oil firm that is also one of the largest enterprises by revenue and production, with its headquarters in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia. Between 1751 and 2018, Saudi Aramco emitted 61,410 metric tons of carbon dioxide. In 2021, they produced 9.2 million barrels of oil daily, making it the world's greatest oil producer. Furthermore, the company generated $394 billion in sales during the same period of time, placing it fourth on the list in the world's largest companies by revenue. Its shares are listed on the Saudi Stock Exchange, and its market capitalization is at $1.9 trillion. Nonetheless, Saudi Aramco has produced the world's highest total CO2 emissions since 1965, presently at 59.26 billion tons. In the past 50 to 60 years, this company alone has generated around 4.4% of total carbon dioxide and methane emissions. Aramco is also expected to lead the growth in fossil fuel production between 2018 and 2030, producing 4.7% of the world's carbon budget, which is the amount of CO2 our planet can produce if we want to keep global temperatures from rising 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. So what are your thoughts on these companies and their role in pollution? Do you think that it's high time that they accept greater responsibility for their actions? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Also, ever wondered how our world will look like in the year 2050? Click on the link on the screen to catch up on all the details about that in our next video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more similar content. Thanks for watching and see you guys soon.